Welcome back to the Unspoken Office, the podcast that helps international professionals and ESL speakers master the hidden rules of corporate communication. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Austin. And that brings us to today's topic, mastering small talk at corporate networking events. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Small talk? That's not strategic, that's just small. But here's the reality. In American and European business culture especially, those seemingly casual conversations are where real business relationships are built. They're where partnerships are born, where career opportunities emerge, and where trust is established.
But here's the thing, networking isn't about selling yourself. It's about building relationships. And those relationships, they start with small talk. For our ESL listeners, this can feel particularly challenging because small talk relies heavily on cultural context, subtle humor, and those unspoken social cues that aren't taught in language textbooks. You might be brilliant at presenting quarterly reports, but feel lost when someone asks about your weekend plans.
Exactly. Whether you're at a corporate mixer, an industry conference, or even just the company holiday party, the ability to start and sustain conversations can literally change your career trajectory. I've seen brilliant engineers get promoted because they connected with the VP of engineering at a conference coffee break. I've watched marketing professionals land dream jobs because they struck up a conversation with someone in line at a trade show booth. These aren't accidents, they're the result of strategic networking skills.
So today, we're breaking down the art of small talk into 3 comprehensive segments: how to start conversations with confidence, how to keep them flowing naturally while building genuine rapport, and, this is crucial, how to end them gracefully while maintaining professional connections. Then we'll do an extended role-play scenario, add a second quick networking situation, and give you our expanded phrase bank with multiple options for each scenario. Plus, we'll dive into the psychology behind why these techniques work, so you understand the strategy, not just the tactics.
Let's start with that first moment, breaking the ice. Michelle, I think this is where our ESL listeners feel the most anxiety. It's that moment when you're holding your drink, scanning the room, and your brain is simultaneously trying to process accents, cultural references, and social hierarchies while also planning what you're going to say.
Oh, absolutely. You're standing there with your drink, scanning the room, and everyone seems to already be in deep conversation. The anxiety is real, but here's something that might surprise you. I've surveyed hundreds of native English speakers, and 73% of them said they also feel nervous approaching strangers at networking events. The difference is they've had more practice with the cultural scripts and social expectations.
Right. But here's the secret. Everyone feels that way, even native speakers. So you need what I call power phrases, simple, foolproof conversation starters that work in any situation. The psychology behind this is fascinating. When you have pre-planned phrases, your cognitive load decreases dramatically. Instead of trying to create original content while managing social anxiety, you're simply executing a proven strategy.
Yes, the first one is golden. I don't think we've met yet. and then your name. It's direct, it's confident, and it works in literally any situation. But here are 3 variations, depending on your style. For the more formal approach, I don't believe we've been introduced. I'm Sarah Kim from Data Tech Solutions. For a warmer tone, hi there, I don't think we've crossed paths yet. I'm Sarah. And for industry events, I don't think we've met. I'm Sarah Kim. I work in data analytics here in the city.
Love that one. Another favorite is, what brought you to this event today? It's open-ended, it shows genuine interest, and it gives the other person a chance to share something meaningful. But here's why this works psychologically. You're not asking about their job title or company. That can feel like an interrogation. Instead, you're asking about their motivation, their interests. Other variations are, how did you hear about this event? Or, what are you hoping to get out of today? These all invite storytelling rather than just data exchange.
Exactly. And then there's what I call the strategic observation technique. You comment on something happening right there, the speaker, the venue, even the food. This works because you're both experiencing the same thing in real time, so there's instant common ground. Some examples are, "This venue is incredible. Have you been to events here before?" Or, "I love how they've organized the breakout sessions, much better than most conferences I've attended." Or even, "The catering is amazing. Do you know if they do corporate events?"
Like, that keynote was fascinating. I'd never thought about AI and supply chain management that way. Boom, instant conversation starter. Or for different industries, that presentation on sustainable packaging really got me thinking about our own logistics challenges. Or the speaker's point about remote team dynamics really resonated with my experience in consulting. The key is to show you are actively listening and can connect it to broader business implications.
Perfect. Now, once you've started the conversation, how do you keep it flowing? This is segment 2, the bridge technique.
The bridge technique is all about asking open-ended questions that build on what the person just said. Think of it as building bridges between topics.
Now, here's where understanding cultural differences becomes crucial. In many cultures, direct questions about work or personal life might seem intrusive, but in American business networking, curiosity about someone's professional journey is actually seen as respectful interest. The key is asking follow-up questions that show you're listening and thinking strategically about their answers. Right, so if someone says they work in marketing, don't just say, "Oh, that's nice." Ask, "That's interesting. How did you get started in that field?" But let's get more specific with industry examples. If they mention digital marketing, that's fascinating. With all the privacy changes lately, how has that affected your strategies? For someone in B2B sales, what's the biggest change you've seen in how clients make decisions? For consultants, what industries are you focusing on these days?
Exactly. And this is where active listening becomes crucial. Really listen to their answer, then ask a follow-up question based on what they shared. And here's the business psychology at play. When you ask thoughtful follow-up questions, you're demonstrating several things simultaneously. First, that you can listen and process information quickly. Second, that you understand business challenges beyond your own field. And third, that you're genuinely curious about learning. All qualities that make someone want to stay connected with you professionally.
Yes, some of my favorite follow-up phrases. What's been the most challenging part of that project? Or how has the industry changed since you started? But let me give you more options based on what they share. If they mention a recent project, what was the most surprising thing you learned? If they talk about their company, what drew you to work there initially? If they mention travel, how does working internationally compare to domestic projects? And here's a power move. What advice would you give someone just starting in that field? People love sharing their expertise.
These questions show business acumen. They demonstrate that you understand professional challenges and industry dynamics. When you ask, "How has the industry changed since you started?" you're showing awareness that business landscapes evolve. When you ask about challenges, you're acknowledging that every role has complexities. This isn't just small talk anymore. It's strategic conversation that positions you as someone who thinks beyond surface level.
Absolutely. But here's something crucial. You can't just keep asking questions. You need to share something about yourself, too. Think of it as conversational tennis. Here's what this looks like in practice. They mention working in supply chain. You ask about recent challenges. They share about semiconductor shortages. Then you offer, "That's exactly what we're seeing in manufacturing. We've had to completely rethink our vendor relationships this year." Now you're both contributing, both learning.
Great analogy. You volley back and forth. They share, they ask, you ask. It's about finding common ground and building rapport.
And when you do share, make it relevant and brief. Don't launch into your entire career history. Instead, offer a specific insight or experience that relates to what they just said. For example, "That's interesting. We just implemented a similar system and found the user adoption was the biggest hurdle." Or, "I had a similar experience when I was working in fintech. The regulatory requirements completely changed our timeline." Now, this brings us to segment 3, and this is where I see so many people struggle: the graceful exit. This is particularly challenging for ESL speakers because in many cultures, ending a conversation abruptly can seem rude. But the American business reality, staying too long with one person, actually signals that you don't understand networking etiquette. You need to master the art of the warm but strategic departure.
This is huge. Staying with one person too long is one of the biggest networking mistakes. You're there to meet multiple people, build your network. I've seen people spend an entire 2-hour event talking to just 2 people. And yes, they had great conversations, but they missed opportunities to connect with 20 others. The goal isn't to become best friends with someone in 15 minutes. It's to create enough of a connection that you can follow up meaningfully later.
Right, so you need what Austin and I call secret phrases, polite ways to end conversations that leave everyone feeling good. These work because they acknowledge the value of the conversation while being transparent about your networking intentions. Remember, everyone there understands this is a networking event. Being strategic about your time is actually professional, not rude.
My go-to is, "It's been great chatting with you. I want to make sure I catch the next speaker, but may I have your LinkedIn to stay in touch?" Here are some variations. "This has been really valuable. I promised myself I'd meet 5 new people tonight, so I should keep circulating, but I'd love to connect on LinkedIn." Or, "I don't want to monopolize your time, but before I let you get back to networking, could we exchange contact information?"
Perfect. Or, "I'm going to grab a refill and let you get back to networking. Here's my card. I'd love to continue this conversation." Other options include, "I see someone I promised to catch up with, but this has been fantastic. Here's my LinkedIn QR code." Or, "I want to make sure I visit the sponsor booths before they close, but let's definitely stay in touch." Or even, "I promised my colleague I'd introduce her to a few people, but may I send you that article we discussed?"
The key is being honest about why you're leaving while showing you valued the conversation. It's not rude, it's professional networking etiquette.
Exactly. Now, let's put this all together in a role-play scenario. Austin, you ready?
Let's do it. Picture this. We're at a busy corporate mixer right after a keynote speech on digital transformation. The room is buzzing with about 200 professionals from various industries: tech, finance, healthcare, consulting. There are high-top tables scattered around, a bar in one corner, and exhibition booths along the walls. I'm going to approach Michelle, who's standing by the refreshment table, looking at the agenda for the evening's breakout sessions. This is a realistic scenario that happens at every major industry event. "Hi there. I don't think we've met yet. I'm Austin Chen from Strategic Solutions. That keynote was pretty eye-opening, wasn't it?"
Oh, hi, I'm Michelle Rodriguez. I'm with Global Tech Consulting. And yes, absolutely. I had no idea how far voice AI had progressed in customer service. Are you implementing any of those strategies?
We're actually in the early stages of a pilot program. The ROI projections are promising, but the change management piece is challenging. How about you? What brought you to this event?
We're helping clients with digital transformation roadmaps, so staying current with emerging technologies is crucial. Change management, that's always the hardest part, isn't it?
Absolutely. What's been your most effective approach for getting buy-in from traditional teams?
Honestly, we've found that starting small with quick wins builds momentum. Show them one successful automation, and suddenly they're asking what else we can optimize.
That's brilliant, the quick win strategy. Michelle, this has been really valuable, but I want to make sure I catch the panel discussion starting in a few minutes. Could I get your LinkedIn? I'd love to continue this conversation.
Of course, and I'd love to hear how your pilot program progresses. Great meeting you, Austin.
Perfect example right there. Notice how we used an observation about the keynote as an icebreaker.
Right. Then we built bridges with follow-up questions about implementation and strategies, and Austin ended with a clear reason for leaving while maintaining the connection.
Now let's do a quick second scenario, something shorter and more challenging. Picture a different situation. It's a company holiday party, and I'm approaching someone who's standing alone, looking at their phone. This requires a different strategy because they might be busy or prefer not to be interrupted. "Excuse me, I hope I'm not interrupting. I'm Austin from the strategy team. Are you waiting for someone, or would you mind if I joined you for a moment?"
Oh, not at all. I'm Michelle from marketing. Just checking if my flight got delayed. Holiday travel, you know. I don't think we've met. How long have you been with the company?
About 2 years now. Oh, holiday travel. That's always an adventure. Are you heading somewhere fun, or is it the dreaded family obligations? And I have to say, the marketing team's campaign for our new product launch has been incredible. Was that your project?
Thank you. Yes, I led the digital strategy on that one, and it's definitely family obligations. But honestly, after this year, I'm looking forward to some downtime. How about you? Any holiday plans?
Great example of reading the situation. Notice how I acknowledged she might be busy, gave her an easy out, but then quickly pivoted to showing I knew her work. That's internal networking, different from external events, because you want to build on existing company connections. Exactly. Now let's recap with our phrase bank, the tools you need to master networking conversations.
First, your icebreakers. We'll give you 3 categories. The classic approach. I don't think we've met yet. I'm the interest-based. What brought you to this event today? How are you finding the conference so far? Have you been to one of these events before? The situational. That presentation was fascinating. What did you think about? This venue is incredible. Have you been here before? The networking setup here is really well organized, isn't it?
Then your flow phrases, the bridge builders, organized by category. Career journey questions. That's interesting. How did you get started in that field? What drew you to that industry initially? How did you make the transition from X to Y? Challenge and change questions. What's been the most challenging part of that role? How has the industry changed since you began? What's the biggest misconception people have about your field? Future and growth questions. What trends are you seeing in your industry? Where do you see the biggest opportunities right now? What advice would you give someone just starting out? Project and experience questions. What's been your most interesting project recently? How does working in X compared to Y? What surprised you most about working in that field?
And your graceful exit phrases, organized by situation. The event-based exit. It's been great chatting with you. I want to make sure I catch the next speaker. I promised myself I'd visit all the sponsor booths before they close. I see the panel discussion is starting soon. Don't want to miss that. The networking-based exit. I don't want to monopolize your time. I'm sure others want to meet you too. I'm trying to meet 5 new people tonight, so I should keep circulating. I want to let you get back to networking, but first, these keep the relationship warm while respecting everyone's time and networking goals.
Remember, this isn't just about having an elevator pitch ready. This is about demonstrating business acumen through genuine curiosity and strategic questions. When you ask about industry changes, you're showing market awareness. When you inquire about challenges, you're demonstrating problem-solving mindset. When you ask about advice for newcomers, you're showing you understand professional development. These conversations position you as someone who thinks strategically about business, not just someone looking for a job or trying to sell something.
Which brings us to this week's comprehensive homework challenge. We're giving you a 3-tier practice system. Tier 1, low-stakes practice. Use one icebreaker in a completely safe environment. Maybe it's asking the barista at your coffee shop, "How long have you been working here?" Or commenting to someone waiting for the elevator, "This building has such interesting architecture, don't you think?" Tier 2, professional practice. Try one conversation starter in a professional but low-pressure setting. Maybe it's at your company cafeteria, a professional meetup, or even a work conference call breakout room. Tier 3, real networking. Use your complete 3-part strategy, icebreaker, bridge question, and graceful exit at an actual networking event, professional association meeting, or industry conference. And here are your success metrics. For Tier 1, success is simply starting one conversation with a stranger. For Tier 2, success is having a conversation that lasts more than 2 minutes and includes at least one follow-up question. For Tier 3, success is having a meaningful conversation and exchanging contact information with someone new. Remember, the goal isn't to become best friends or land a job offer in one conversation. It's to build your networking confidence and skills systematically.
Start small, build confidence. That's the pathway to networking success.
Next week in episode 5, we're tackling high-stakes presentations, the kind that can make or break your career advancement. We'll cover everything from handling difficult questions to reading the room like a pro.
Until then, keep practicing, keep building your confidence, and remember,
You've got this.